Hello everyone. Today I'll be presenting on ADHD as a barrier to learning. My presentation will cover what ADHD is, how it impacts learning, and practical strategies teachers can implement to support students with ADHD in the classroom. ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. It's a neurodevelopmental condition affecting about 4% of adults globally. People with ADHD have brains that are wired differently. They're neurodivergent. There are three main subtypes: predominantly inattentive, formerly called ADD, predominantly hyperactive impulsive, and combined type. The inattentive type involves difficulty focusing and paying attention. The hyperactive impulsive type involves physical restlessness and impulsive decisions, while the combined type includes symptoms from both categories. ADHD affects the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which is responsible for executive functioning skills like planning, organization, and self-regulation. There are differences in neurotransmitters like dopamine, which affects motivation and attention. As Leanne Maskell describes in her book, it's like having a Ferrari brain with bicycle brakes. Lots of power and speed, but difficulty stopping or slowing down. It's important to understand that ADHD isn't a defect, but a different operating system, like how a Mac operates differently from Windows, but both are valid and functional systems. People with ADHD typically show several common traits. They often have short attention spans and are easily distracted, yet paradoxically can hyperfocus intensely on topics that interest them. Many struggle with organization and time management. Impulsivity and impatience are common, as is emotional dysregulation, feeling emotions more intensely than others. But ADHD also brings strengths like creativity and out-of-the-box thinking. These traits manifest differently in each person with ADHD, and they exist on a spectrum of severity. In the classroom, ADHD significantly impacts learning through attention challenges. Students with ADHD often struggle to sustain attention during lessons, especially if the content doesn't immediately engage them. They are easily distracted by noises, movements, or even their own thoughts. Teachers might notice them zoning out or daydreaming. Following multi-step instructions can be particularly challenging as they might remember the first step but lose track of what comes next. Their performance can be frustratingly inconsistent, excelling one day and struggling the next, which can confuse teachers and the students themselves. ADHD significantly impacts executive functioning, which affects learning in several ways. Students often struggle with planning and organizing their work. They might have messy desks, lose assignments, or forget books. Many experience task initiation paralysis, knowing they need to start an assignment but feeling unable to begin. Time management is typically challenging, with difficulties estimating how long tasks will take and meeting deadlines. Working memory challenges mean they might forget instructions soon after hearing them. They also struggle with prioritizing tasks, often focusing on what's interesting rather than on what's important or urgent. ADHD also impacts social and emotional aspects of learning. Students may interrupt conversations or blurt out answers, not because they are rude, but because they struggle with impulse control. Many experience rejection-sensitive dysphoria, an extreme sensitivity to perceived criticism or rejection. Emotional regulation is challenging, with emotions often feeling more intense and harder to control. These factors can make peer relationships difficult. Over time, repeated experiences of failure in academic and social situations can damage self-esteem, leading to anxiety, withdrawal, or behavioral problems. These emotional challenges can significantly impact a student's ability to engage with learning. Let's look at some practical strategies for supporting students with ADHD, starting with the learning environment. Creating a distraction-reduced environment is crucial. This doesn't necessarily mean complete quiet, but minimizing unnecessary visual and auditory distractions. Movement breaks are essential. Allowing students to stretch, walk around, or do a quick physical activity can actually improve focus afterward. Seating is important. Some students focus better at the front. Others need to be away from windows or doors. Establishing predictable routines helps students know what to expect. Finally, visual schedules and reminders provide external structure that compensates for executive functioning challenges. Adapting instruction is crucial for supporting students with ADHD. Breaking down tasks into smaller, manageable steps prevents overwhelm. Providing instructions in multiple formats, both verbally and in writing, helps compensate for attention lapses. Using multiple modalities engages different learning channels, combining visual, auditory, and hands-on approaches. Offering choices in how students demonstrate knowledge allows them to play to their strengths. Maybe a project instead of a written test, or a presentation instead of an essay. Finally, incorporating students' interests into learning activities dramatically increases engagement and focus. If a student is passionate about space, finding ways to connect curriculum to that interest can transform their learning experience. Additional support and accommodations can make a tremendous difference for students with ADHD. Providing extra time for assignments and tests reduces anxiety and allows them to demonstrate their true knowledge. Technology tools like text-to-speech or speech-to-text software can bypass challenges with reading or writing. Implementing organizational systems such as color-coding subjects or using checklists helps compensate for executive functioning difficulties. Accountability partnerships, pairing students or having teacher check-ins, provides external structure. Regular feedback is crucial, especially positive reinforcement for progress and effort, not just results. These supports don't give unfair advantages. They level the playing field and allow students to show their true capabilities. While we've discussed challenges, it's equally important to take a strengths-based approach with ADHD. People with ADHD often demonstrate remarkable creativity and innovative thinking. They make connections others might miss. The ability to hyper-focus on subjects of interest can lead to extraordinary productivity and deep expertise. Many have boundless energy and enthusiasm that can invigorate a classroom. Their different perspective leads to unique problem-solving approaches, and the challenges they've overcome often develop remarkable resilience and adaptability. By recognizing and leveraging these strengths, educators can help students build confidence and find the unique path to success. To conclude, ADHD certainly presents real barriers to learning, but with understanding and appropriate support, students with ADHD can absolutely thrive. The key is balancing a recognition of their challenges with an appreciation of their strengths. By creating inclusive environments that celebrate neurodiversity, we help all students understand that different doesn't mean deficient, it just means different. With the right support, students with ADHD can harness their unique cognitive style to achieve remarkable success. Our role as educators is to help them discover and develop their potential, rather than trying to make them fit a standardized mold. These are the key references I've used in preparing this presentation. I particularly recommend Leanne Maskell's book, ADHD and A to Z, for anyone wanting to understand the lived experiences of ADHD, as well as the research by Hamans, Kels, and Copper on learner-centered systems for adult learning, which has many applications for supporting students with ADHD. Thanks for watching.